Hello, this is my short story, Cakes Up in Smoke. It was one of those days. It was pouring with rain. I just missed a bus home, and they didn't have my favourite cream cakes in the Co-op. I'd had to substitute for some others. The Co-op is one of my most hated shops. No blooming room to move. Never have what you want. Load of rubbish. As I waited, I looked inside my bag greedily, wondering whether to get a cake out and slowly enjoy it. 3 ladies, all at least in their late 60s, walked up the slope leading from the store to the bus stop. I was mildly annoyed, not wanting to eat my luscious cake in company. Yes, I had a few wobbly bits and wasn't as fit as I could be, but how a taste of those creamy, freshly baked slices of heaven were worth it. In fact, one bite could keep you hooked for a lifetime. I looked up from peering at my delicious cakes, the smell of cigarette smoke repulsing me, tearing me away from my reverie devoted to my cakes. At 300 calories a cake, they did make one look wider. My tight trousers were more than proof of that. I covered my nose and mouth with my chubby little hand. The lady, a slim, brown-haired, blue-eyed woman, the source of my discomfort, took not a blind bit of notice of me, only continued nattering to her friends, whom were perched either side of her. If I had to guess, I would have stopped the meter at mid-50s, maybe a little younger. I began to wheeze a little, much to my embarrassment. Still with my hand over my nose and mouth, I began to slowly back out of the bus shelter. I thought I was making my getaway as discreetly as I possibly could. Evidently, I was wrong, because the next thing I knew, she was shouting at me. "Hey, what's your problem then?" I looked over at her and removed my hand from my nose and mouth. "I beg your pardon? What's your problem? Giving me evils? Overacting? Putting your hand over your mouth? Backing away? I can smoke anywhere I blooming like, so just you stop it, Chubbs." "Hang on, did she just call me Chubbs?" I'd soon sort her out. "What did you just say?" I practically roared. I never have been good at confrontation. The woman took a step toward me. Then, to my horror, she blew a lungful of smoke right in my face. "Goody two-shoes," she snorted. Then I gave her my best, disgusted look. "Call me Chubbs if you like. I couldn't care less. At least I don't pong like you." I folded my arms, giving my best tough impression. "I pong, do I? Well, at least I don't have a disgusting spare tie like you," she exclaimed, flicking ash in my direction. Feeling upset and stressed, I did what I always do and instinctively reached for my cakes again. Suddenly, I felt ashamed and completely wretched. I realised we both had the same problem, addiction. She to nicotine and I to food. Her friends having long since got out of the way, I decided to apologise. "Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said what I did." She took a good drag on her fag and stubbed it out. "I should think you are. Now I'm going to get on my bus and I don't want to talk to you again." I watched her bus pull in. She gave me a glare, got on, sat down, and the bus pulled out again. I sighed. Not the epitome of tact, am I thought. I trudged home with my shopping. As soon as I got in, I took off my coat and shoes and went upstairs. I got out my scales. Gasping, I stood on them and my full horrific weight flashed up. "Girl, you need to go on a serious diet," I thought to myself. Feeling deflated, I put the scales away, went downstairs and threw my tempting treats in the bin. A few days later, I'd caught the bus into town. My purpose? To seek out a good gym or exercise class. I eventually found an aerobics class I liked the look of. signed up and decided as I stepped out onto the street to shop in Boots. It was then that I literally bumped into someone. "You again!" an annoyed voice almost screamed. I looked up into the very angry face of the woman I'd had a run-in with a few days before. "Hello, I see we bumped into each other again," I said, with a forced grin. "Humph," was the only reply I got as she began to stomp down the street. "Listen, I really am sorry about the other day," I called after her. When I got home, I realised something. She stopped, turned round, looked at me with disdain. "Yeah, what's that then?" "Not that I'm interested." She folded her arms. "Forget it. I'm desperate for a fag." "That's exactly my point. Everybody's addicted to something," I pointed out, smiling. "You funny little woman," she half smirked. "What do you mean?" I realised my particular addiction is food. There are lots more people who are addicted to TV, drugs, alcohol, sex even, diets or exercise. Or, I paused for emphasis, nicotine. She actually grinned. "Both as bad as each other, love. I'm sorry about blowing smoke in your face." I paused a moment, uncertain as to what to say next. "I joined a gym," I informed her. "About time I got rid of this spare tyre." "I'm trying to cut down the cigs," she told me. "By the way, my name's Brenda." She held her hand out. I hesitantly shook it. "Well done," I commended her. "My name's Jessie." I hesitated again. Do you fancy joining me for aerobics class?" I asked shyly. She nodded. "Yeah, I'd like that. Maybe help give me some discipline." "Gonna need that," she grinned widely. "Listen, love, I'm going to get signed up for this class. I'm needing to run round Boots to get myself set up with a proper quick kit. Then I'm free for a cuppa if you want." "Great," I replied airily. "We can encourage each other." Brenda let out a laugh as we walked up the steps to the gym. "I'm going to need all the encouragement I can bloody get." Despite her being old enough to be my mum, we were becoming friends. "Here's my number. Now, if you run into temptation, give me a call," I told Brenda as I handed her a piece of paper. We were stepping out of the cafe we'd had a cup of tea in. "Good luck," I said as I gave her a quick hug. "You too." I deliberately blanked out the cake shop as I started back home. "Lead us not into temptation," came a giggly voice from the distance. "See you at aerobics on Monday. Mate, be there with bells on."